Hello, welcome to Mix Monolith and the world of level planes. Now, Mix Monolith is actually a very easy plugin to use. In fact, the most difficult part is the acceptance of level planes and the fact that everything we hear is governed by them. And what is a level plane? Simply put, a level plane is an integer of 5 dB. And why 5? Well, 5 is the number of balance throughout the universe. Even as it pertains to yourself. You've got 5 fingers, 5 senses, 5 limbs from your torso. 5 is a number of balance. Think of it as a universal rule or law. We at Ayaic have seen the benefit of this rule as it pertains to sonic energy. And we have created Mix Monolith so that you can easily and efficiently level balance any mix perfectly. Let me demonstrate. All right. So there are 2 ways to use Mix Monolith. Which way you use it will be determined by your DAW, your DAW, and whether or not it supports post-fader inserts. If your DAW supports post-fader inserts, you can simply bring up a pre-existing mix and leave all of your faders just the way they are. If you have any automation or plugins inserted on tracks, you can leave them just the way they are and place Mix Monolith into the very last post-fader insert slot position. However, if your DAW does not support post-fader inserts and only supports pre-fader inserts, you will need to zero out your faders and place Mix Monolith into the very last pre-fader insert slot position. Regardless of which way you use it, Mix Monolith will function the same way and level your mix beautifully. Now let's use Mix Monolith. Insert a monolith onto every single track and choose the preset that pertains to that track. So here we have the kick track and we chose the kick preset. Here we have the bass track and we chose the bass preset. Now you'll notice that as you bring up your presets, your duck expansion groups are going to set automatically. So the kick created a kick snare tom group and set itself to send, while the bass preset selected that kick snare tom group, set itself to receive, and then set the controls so that the kick would duck the bass by 3 dB every time it hit. All right. Now, one thing to keep in mind so that you don't get sync errors is on this track, we have a bass and we have a bass micro pitch, and both of those are going to a bass bus. All right. So we have our bass bus down here, and we have a monolith on our bass bus. Okay. So now if we go back to our bass track, you can see that at the moment, the kick is ducking the bass track, and then the bass track along with the bass micro pitch are both going to the bass bus, and then the kick is ducking the bass bus. So this is creating a sync error, okay, because it's ducking both the bass, and then this is being set to the bass bus, and it's ducking the bass bus as well. So what we want to do is just turn off the duck expansion group information here. And so now the bass and the micro pitch bass are both going to the bass bus, and then the kick is ducking your bass bus, by 3 dB every time it hits as a whole. Okay, so now we don't have any sync errors. So if you ever are working and you see sync errors, you've got something like that going on where a monolith is sending to 2 monoliths that are actually connected. The bass is going to the bass bus, and so that's kind of a connection. So you want to be aware of that. All right. But once we have all of our monoliths set up, we want to open up a monolith, and it doesn't matter which one. We're going to go back to the beginning of the song, and we're going to hit Learn All Channels and then play the song. Now, this is always a 2-pass process. So if you watch the video I have, the 2-pass process explains it, there as well. But we have all of our tracks are going to our stereo buses. So the first pass is going to learn all of our monoliths, but it's going to mix. It's mainly there to mix all of our tracks because our buses are not going to be getting the proper volumes, especially down here where we have the monoliths in the pre-insert position and our faders are at 0. Our buses are going to be getting this onslaught of volume, so they're going to turn way down. So they're not getting the proper volume. Doesn't matter though. So the first pass is going to level all of our individual tracks. Then after that first pass, we're going to hit mix all channels, go back to the beginning, hit learn all channels and play again. Now, of course, all of these monoliths will learn, but they have already set themselves. So the monoliths will go, nothing to change here. And the stereo buses will be getting the proper volume. So when we hit mix after that second pass, they will set themselves and we're right where we need to be. So let's demonstrate that. Let's go back to the beginning of the song. I'm going to hit learn all channels. I'm going to turn down the volume because it's going to be very, very loud for now. And I will see you at the end of this pass. All right. See you in a bit. All right, so we're here at the end of the song. Stop it. I'm going to hit mix all channels, and you can see that every monolith mixed itself. So they all adjusted and set themselves on the proper level planes. Now here are the groups, or two of the groups, the guitar and the key, and you can see that they turned down by like 17 dB. All right, that's because remember they were getting this onslaught of volume, especially here where things are at 0. All right, so they just turned way down. So we're going to go right back to the beginning here again. We're going to hit learn all channels. Let me zero out my master fader. We're going to hit learn all channels again and play the song. And this time, even though all of the track bus monoliths are learning, there's nothing for them to change. So they're just going to stay. And this pass is going to get the buses are now going to get the proper volume and adjust themselves accordingly. And at the end, you're going to see from 17, it's going to jump up to, -10, -7, considerable amount. And the song will be right where you need to be. So let's do that. And I will see you at the end of this pass. Much better. All right, we've reached the end of the song again. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to hit mix all channels, and you can see here's our key group went from 17 to -10, or -17 to -10. The guitar group went from -17 to -11. The drum group, all the groups adjust themselves, and that's it. So now if we wanted to make any adjustments, like to the tracks, the song will sound great. We can just go into an individual track and just either, it's a little bit too low, just jump up a whole level plane. And then we can either leave it there if we like it, or, type in, whatever change here. Well, it's not going to be higher on this one. Say that this was -25 here. Okay, it'd be too loud. So we'll just jump down a level plane. And then if we like that, then we would just type in -30, hit mix this channel. We don't have to learn again, and it'll adjust itself. Now you can see we have a -3 and a +3. Well, that's another universal, 3 is another universal law or rule that comes into play. And what that rule is let me go down here to overheads. Good example. Okay, so here's our overhead and overhead right. So you can see both of these guys are at -38. I want the overheads to sit on the level plane -35. And where the 3 rule comes in is if you take a track and you duplicate it and play it against itself and say they're both at -25, the increase in volume will always be 3. So since we have a dual mono for our overheads and I want our overheads to sit at -35, I will place both of those at -38 because they are playing the same part at the same luffs, and the increase will be 3. So with both of them set to 38 together, they will be at -35. So they'll be right where it needs to be. If you had a background vocal and it was double tracked and you wanted that background vocal to sit at -25, then you would set both of them to -28 so that you have -28, -28. Whoops, excuse me. -28, -28 playing together. The increase is 3. They will be sitting on the level plane minus 25. So that's where 3 comes into play. But other than that, it's just as simple as, making any adjustments to the level planes. But once you get used to it, you'll have them set. You go, there we go. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning of the song, play the song, let you guys listen. But when you listen, realize that this is your starting point. 2 passes, and this is your starting point, which is damn close to the ending point. That's level planes. All right. So from here, any adjustments you'd need to make would be, maybe something was on a wrong level plane, or you want to add, some parallel processing to really beef up stuff. Okay. Some parallel compression or EQ or whatever, or, some delays or some distortion dirt. But remember that when you add that, so say that you had like an element and you wanted to add some distortion, parallel along with it, that distortion track that's going to be underneath it is still a noise and still going to be governed by ceilings, and it's still something you hear. So it's still going to be governed by a level plane. So if the element was sitting at minus 25, that parallel distortion for that would be probably minus 35, minus 40, minus 30, wherever you want it to sit, but it's going to be sitting on a level plane. So everything we hear is a noise governed by ceilings for like COS Pro, and everything we hear, all noises need to be leveled and sit on level planes, period. All right. So happy mixing. That's how you use Monolith and enjoy the power of level planes. And I will see you later. All right. Enjoy.